Hi, I'm Ashley Schmidt, and not only am I an Air Force Academy graduate, but I also worked in the Air Force Academy admissions office. And we're going to talk more about nomination tips for interviews. All right, so this is the fourth part in a five-part series. And if you've missed any of the other tips and tricks, check out my channel and you can get some more tips and tricks. So today we're going to talk about two more things. We're going to talk about never using lists and being concise, okay? Don't ramble. Kind of, I guess, the overarching topic here is don't ramble. Well, what does that mean? All right, so the first question tends to be, tell me about yourself, right? And what students want to do is one of two things. They want to stare at the interviewers and kind of be like, oh, what am I supposed to say, right? You're nervous anyway. You're kind of a little bit just, feeling really nervous about this interview, right? So the one common thing to do is kind of stare at the interviewer or stumble or kind of freeze up. The other common thing for students to do is to just list a bunch of stuff. Okay, they just start spewing out whatever comes to mind. All right, that sounds okay because they did say, tell me about yourself. And it is what they consider an icebreaker question, but you don't just want to blah out stuff, okay? Pick a few items from the variety of things you do and state those. Ones you know you're going to talk about. If you're in Boy Scouts, if you're in CAP, which is Civil Air Patrol, if you have sports, if you're a team captain, kind of categorize things. So maybe 3 categories of things. I'm in sports, and then you list your, sports you're in. The volunteer or the organizations I'm in is the Boy Scouts. I also do Civil Air Patrol, so kind of organizations. And then maybe either hobbies or maybe volunteer services, civil servants, things you work with, kind of that volunteer aspect. So kind of pick the 3 categories, pick some things out of those 3 categories, and, just say them. Don't have a huge list of stuff, okay? It's boring to listen to, and it doesn't really give anything extra. They have your resume. They don't really need you to regurgitate your resume. So just give kind of an overview of some of the things you think you're going to talk about. So those are the 3 categories. Like I said, sports, and then maybe community or activities you do like Boy Scouts, things like that, and then maybe service or volunteer work or maybe hobbies that you're really into. If you're really into 3D printing, photography, solar car, whatever, maybe something interesting you're working on or into. That would be something good to talk about. Okay, so be concise. How do you be concise? Well, I'm going to foot stomp. Practice, practice, practice. And we talked about star stories in one of the other videos. I'm not going to repeat that, but if you kind of have some star stories you can think of, things about leadership or things about times you organize things, if you have kind of those prepared, you can practice them prior to the interview. Okay, now what are you aiming for? What is concise? I usually suggest students go like 2 to 3 minutes per answer. That's kind of the sweet spot where you're giving enough detail, but you're not really babbling. Students tend to, if it's 3 minutes, more than 3 minutes, they tend to babble. Now, there is some stipulations to that whole 3-minute rule. So let's say they ask follow-up questions, or they ask, hey, do you have another example, or something like that. It kind of restarts the clock. If you're asked a secondary question, that kind of restarts that 2 to 3 minute clock. Now, if it's a question you should have answered with a no or yes, don't spend 2 to 3 minutes answering a no or yes question, right? Maybe a no with a quick explanation or yes with a quick explanation. But those type of questions, keep under a minute, maybe even less, depending on the question. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that so you know how long an answer should be, and that if you're practicing some of these questions at home of what you want to say, that 2 to 3 minutes is about a good spot to have your answer within that time frame. So if you've missed any of my other tips and tricks, please look on my channel, subscribe, tell your friends. I really want to help you out and give you some information that I hope you find really valuable. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.
Want to impress Academy admissions? Want to get that nomination? Then this is the workbook for you. Grab your step-by-step guide on Amazon today. Use the link below or search on Amazon for Service Academy admissions.